Welcome to a fascinating journey into the world of American coins, where each piece of metal carries a story of history, culture, craftsmanship, and sometimes even mystery and immense wealth. Today we are diving deep into the incredible history and value of the 1974 United States Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike, and one that in certain cases has been reported to hold a market value reaching a staggering $143 million. This is not just any coin from circulation, it is a coin that represents a period of American history, a piece that tells the story of the mid-20th century, and one that can change the life of a lucky collector who happens to possess one of its rare and valuable examples. The United States quarter dollar has long been one of the most iconic denominations in American coinage. Minted since the late 1700s, it has carried designs that celebrate the nation's founding principles, leaders, and national symbols. By 1974, the quarter dollar was already well established as a daily use coin in commerce, used by millions of Americans in vending machines, grocery stores, gas stations, and everyday life. Yet the 1974 issue carries more weight than many people realize, both historically and numismatically. The coin we call the Liberty Quarter Dollar of 1974 bears on its obverse the famous portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, facing left, designed by John Flanagan. Above his head is inscribed the word Liberty, below his neck is the date 1974, and to the left of the portrait is the phrase "In God We Trust." On the reverse side we see the heraldic eagle, wings outstretched, standing proudly upon a bundle of arrows, with two olive branches below symbolizing both strength and peace. Surrounding the design is the inscription United States of America, and below it the denomination quarter dollar. This design had been used on quarters since 1932, introduced originally to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth, and it remained in use until the state quarters program began in 1999. The 1974 Liberty Quarter Dollar was struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins do not carry a mint mark, while those struck at Denver bear a D mark and those from San Francisco carry the S mint mark. San Francisco coins were primarily proof issues, struck with polished dies on specially prepared planchets for collectors, while the Philadelphia and Denver issues were struck for general circulation. The total mintage for 1974 was massive, with hundreds of millions of quarters produced to meet the needs of a growing nation. Yet, despite this large number, not all coins are created equal. Some examples, because of their condition, minting errors, or special circumstances, have become highly desirable to collectors, reaching values far beyond their face value of 25 cents. One of the reasons the 1974 Liberty Quarter has drawn so much attention is the possibility of rare mint errors and unusual compositions. In the early 1970s, the United States Mint was experimenting with changes in coinage composition. Prior to 1965, quarters had been struck in 90% silver, but rising silver prices forced the mint to adopt a clad composition of copper and nickel. By 1974, the clad coinage system was standard, but there were occasional experimental strikes and transitional errors that slipped through. For example, there are rumors and reports of 1974 quarters struck on leftover silver planchets from the 1960s, or on foreign coin planchets of different metals. These rare mistakes create coins that are vastly different from the ordinary clad quarters, and they are the types of coins that can fetch extraordinary sums in the marketplace. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality, luster, and preservation. A 1974 quarter found in circulation will typically be worn and worth little more than face value. But a pristine example, graded at the highest mint state levels by professional grading services, can be worth thousands. Proof coins from San Francisco, especially those with cameo or deep cameo contrast, are also highly sought after. The coin market thrives on rarity combined with condition, and the 1974 quarter delivers both in certain cases. The ultimate dream for collectors is discovering an error coin that combines rarity, history, and mystique. For instance, a double die obverse, a misaligned strike, an off-center strike, or a transitional error where a coin is struck on the wrong metal planchet, can transform a seemingly ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. It is in these rare circumstances that we hear stories of a 1974 Liberty quarter dollar being valued at astronomical figures, sometimes reaching into hundreds of millions of dollars for a unique specimen considered priceless to the numismatic world. But what makes a coin like the 1974 Liberty quarter dollar potentially worth $143 million? It is a combination of factors. First, rarity beyond comprehension, as in the case of a unique mint error or experimental strike. Second, historical significance, representing a crucial era in American coinage and history. Third, the desirability factor, driven by wealthy collectors and investors who compete to own one-of-a-kind treasures. In the rare coin market, when two determined collectors or institutions vie for the same coin, prices can skyrocket to unimaginable levels. Coins are not just pieces of metal, they are historical artifacts, works of art, and status symbols. For the ultra-wealthy, owning a unique coin like a rare 1974 Liberty quarter dollar is a mark of prestige, an investment, and a connection to American heritage. The coin market is dynamic, and prices fluctuate based on demand, discoveries, and trends. In recent years, there has been a surge of interest in rare American coins, fueled by both seasoned collectors and new investors who see coins as a hedge against inflation and a tangible asset with historical charm. Auctions have witnessed record-breaking sales, with coins selling for tens of millions of dollars. Against this backdrop, the possibility of a 1974 Liberty quarter reaching a valuation of $143 million is not beyond imagination. Such a coin would be unique, possibly an error piece struck in silver or gold, or one with a dramatic and spectacular minting anomaly that makes it unlike any other known example. Every collector dreams of finding such a coin in pocket change, tucked away in an old jar, or hidden in a family collection. It is this dream that fuels the excitement and passion of numismatics. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of turning a 25-cent coin into a life-changing fortune, is what keeps collectors searching. Stories abound of rare coins being discovered in the most unexpected places, from garage sales to flea markets, from old piggy banks to dusty attics. Could a 1974 Liberty quarter dollar worth millions be lying unnoticed in someone's drawer right now? The answer is yes, and that is what makes this hobby so magical. When examining a 1974 quarter, collectors look for certain details. First, the mint mark, as coins from different mints may have different values. Second, the condition of the coin, whether it has been circulated or preserved in mint state. Third, the presence of errors or unusual features, such as doubling, misalignment, or odd metal content. Tools like precision scales, magnifying glasses, and professional grading services help determine whether a coin is ordinary or extraordinary. The grading scale, from poor to perfect mint state 70, plays a huge role in valuation. A coin graded at mint state 65 or higher can command significant premiums. Proof coins with deep cameo contrast are also highly prized. Beyond the technical details, the 1974 Liberty quarter dollar is also a symbol of its era. The early 1970s were a time of change in America, politically, socially, and economically. The Vietnam War was drawing to a close, Watergate was unfolding, and inflation was rising. The coinage of the time reflects the economic realities, with the transition away from silver to cheaper metals. Yet, the coin still carried the timeless image of Washington and the eagle, symbols of leadership and national pride. Holding a 1974 quarter is like holding a piece of that history, a small artifact that witnessed the daily lives of millions of Americans during a turbulent decade. For collectors, the 1974 Liberty quarter dollar represents both history and opportunity. It is a coin that can be found in pocket change, yet under the right circumstances, it can be worth a fortune. It is a coin that teaches us to look closely, to appreciate details, and to understand that even the most ordinary-seeming objects can hold extraordinary value. It is a reminder that history is all around us, sometimes hidden in the palm of our hand. So as you listen to this story of the 1974 Liberty quarter dollar, remember that coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It is a journey into the past, a treasure hunt, and for a lucky few, a pathway to incredible wealth. The idea that a small quarter-dollar coin could one day be valued at $143 million is a testament to the power of rarity, history, and human desire. When we look at a simple quarter-dollar coin, most people see nothing more than 25 cents, a piece of change that can buy a gumball, start a laundromat machine, or rest forgotten at the bottom of a pocket. But for coin collectors, numismatists, historians, and treasure seekers, every quarter tells a story far greater than its face value. Now we are going to journey through the fascinating history and immense value of the 1979 D Liberty quarter dollar from the United States of America, a coin that under the right circumstances has been valued in the realm of $140.20 million in the collector's market. It is a staggering figure, one that makes jaws drop and minds race, and it comes from the unique combination of rarity, history, condition, and the powerful allure that coins like this hold over the imaginations of collectors worldwide. The year was 1979. America was moving into a new era. The nation had just come out of a turbulent decade filled with political scandals, the aftershocks of the Vietnam War, economic challenges, and a wave of cultural transformation. The dollar was weakening, inflation was climbing, and new faces were emerging in leadership and society. The coinage of the era reflected the needs of a busy, growing nation, and quarters were at the heart of daily commerce. The Liberty Quarter, commonly known as the Washington Quarter, was everywhere, sliding into vending machines, toll booths, gas stations, diners, and movie theaters. But the 1979 D Liberty Quarter, struck at the Denver Mint, carries a special place in the chronicles of American coinage. On its obverse side, the coin features the enduring bust of George Washington, America's first president, designed by John Flanagan back in 1932. The word Liberty arches above Washington's head, the date 1979 sits below his neckline, and the proud declaration "In God We Trust" rests to the left. On the reverse, we see the classic heraldic eagle, wings spread wide in authority, perched on a bundle of arrows to show readiness to defend, with olive branches underneath symbolizing peace and unity. The inscriptions "United States of America" and quarter dollar circle around, reinforcing both identity and denomination. This design had become a symbol of American strength and tradition, used on the nation's quarters from 1932 until the end of the 20th century. Now what makes the 1979 D Liberty Quarter extraordinary is not only its design and history, but the world of rare possibilities surrounding it. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year, all struck in the standard copper-nickel-clad composition that had been introduced in 1965 after the United States moved away from 90% silver coinage due to rising silver prices. For the average citizen, a 1979 D quarter is still found in circulation today, worth no more than its face value. But for the discerning eye of a collector, certain unique examples rise far beyond ordinary. Coins struck in perfect mint state, graded at the very top of the scale, such as mint state 67, 68, or even higher, become scarce treasures because most quarters entered circulation and acquired scratches, dings, and wear. To find a coin that survived the minting process and the following decades without a blemish is a challenge of probability. Yet condition alone, while valuable, does not usually push a coin into the realm of hundreds of millions of dollars. The real treasures are the rarities, coins struck with errors, transitional metals, double dies, or experimental planchets. And this is where the legend of the 1979 D Liberty Quarter truly captures collectors' imaginations. It is rumored and reported that in 1979, during a time when the mint was striking new issues like the Susan B. Anthony dollar and preparing for other coinage shifts, a handful of quarters may have been struck on experimental or leftover silver planchets, or even foreign metal stock that had been mistakenly fed into the presses. These transitional or wrong planchet errors are exceedingly rare, sometimes unique. Imagine holding a coin that looks like every other quarter, but tests reveal it is struck in 40% silver, or perhaps a full silver planchet left over from the 1960s. That alone would make it a multi-million-dollar piece. Now combine rarity with flawless condition, collector demand, and the sheer aura of uniqueness, and you can understand how valuations skyrocket to astronomical levels. Auction houses have recorded incredible results for coins far less legendary than this. Quarters with rare errors have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when a coin emerges that is believed to be one of a kind, history-changing, and a centerpiece for any collection, the bidding wars among wealthy collectors and institutions can push the price into the stratosphere. That is why stories circulate of a 1979 D Liberty quarter dollar valued at over $140 million. It is not just a coin, it is a myth, a relic, an ultimate prize in the numismatic universe. Think for a moment about what drives that value. Coins are small, but they embody history, artistry, and scarcity. The 1979 D quarter connects us to Washington, to the Denver Mint's long tradition, to the late 1970s America with its economic uncertainty and cultural shifts. It also connects us to the stories of mint workers, engravers, and ordinary people who handled it daily. It ties together the idea of money as both a medium of exchange and a store of memory. For a collector, owning the rarest form of this coin is like owning a piece of America itself. Let us explore the condition side in detail. When grading coins, professional services like PCGS or NGC use a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a coin in absolutely perfect condition, flawless under magnification. Most 1979 D quarters fall between grades of good and extremely fine because they were heavily circulated. Mint state examples exist, but they thin out rapidly above MS65. At MS67, the coin is considered a condition rarity, worth thousands of dollars. At MS68 or higher, values can explode due to extreme scarcity. Proof-like strikes, while not officially issued from Denver, sometimes appear as anomalies, further driving desirability. Beyond condition, mint errors add immense value. Double die obverse, where the lettering or date shows clear doubling, command strong premiums. Off-center strikes, where the design is not aligned with the coin's edges, are dramatic and collectible. Clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press, attract attention. But the greatest prize is the wrong planchet or transitional metal strike. A 1979 D Liberty quarter on a silver planchet would be one of the most important modern rarities imaginable. Theories suggest such coins could have slipped through as the mint balanced different coinage projects. If authenticated, such a coin could indeed be worth more than gold, more than diamonds, more even than priceless art in the eyes of the numismatic elite. The marketplace plays its role. Wealthy collectors, museums, and investment groups are always on the lookout for trophy coins. These are coins that are so rare, so unique, that owning them makes headlines. They are displayed in exhibitions, published in journals, and whispered about in collector circles. If a 1979 D Liberty $quarter of extraordinary rarity comes to auction, it would ignite a frenzy. Bidding would soar not just because of intrinsic value, but because of prestige, reputation, and the sheer thrill of competition. It is in this environment that we reach numbers like $140.20 million, and yet, even ordinary collectors can dream. Imagine finding a 1979 D Liberty quarter in a coin jar, looking closer, weighing it, noticing a strange tone or heavier feel, and realizing you might hold the key to a fortune. This dream is what fuels the passion of coin collecting. It is why millions of people carefully check their change, why they search through rolls from banks, why they attend shows and auctions, why they study grading and error varieties late into the night. Every collector dreams of discovering a life-changing coin. The 1979 D quarter is one of those dream coins, but the story is not only about money. It is also about heritage. The Liberty quarter, with Washington on one side and the eagle on the other, connects us across generations. It is a coin children received as allowance in 1979, a coin soldiers might have carried in their pockets, a coin families dropped into payphones to call loved ones. To think that one of these everyday objects could be worth over $140 million is to be reminded of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. So what should you do if you have a 1979 D quarter? First, examine it closely. Check the mintmark D, confirm the date, and study its details with a magnifying glass. Look for doubling, unusual thickness, odd coloration, or signs it might be struck on a different metal. Weigh it. Ordinary quarters weigh 5.67 grams, but errors may be lighter or heavier. If anything looks unusual, do not clean the coin, as cleaning reduces value. Instead, submit it to a professional grading service. They can authenticate it and, if rare, certify its condition, which dramatically increases marketability. When you pick up an ordinary coin from your pocket, it is easy to dismiss it as just change, something to use at a vending machine or toss into a jar. But hidden in the world of coins are treasures that can rival the value of the most precious gems, artworks, or rare collectibles. Among these extraordinary pieces stands the fascinating story of the 1980 Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin minted in Denver that is often overlooked by everyday people but is capable of carrying a market valuation so staggering that it reaches into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Today we dive into its history, its value, its beauty, and its incredible potential to change the life of the collector who possesses it, with some examples reportedly valued at $139 million. The 1980 quarter belongs to the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 as a way to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. John Flanagan's famous portrait of the first President of the United States graces the obverse side of the coin. Washington faces left, his profile sharp and dignified, a symbol of leadership, strength, and the founding of the nation. Above his head we see the word liberty, one of the most important ideals on which America was built. To the left of Washington's portrait is the phrase "In God We Trust," affirming the national motto. Below, we see the date, 1980. And just to the right of Washington's ponytail is the small but important letter D, marking that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Turn the coin over and you are greeted by the powerful heraldic eagle, wings spread in confidence, perched upon a bundle of arrows, a stance that symbolizes strength and preparedness for defense. Beneath the eagle are olive branches, signifying America's hope for peace. Surrounding the design are the words United States of America above, and quarter dollar below, declaring both the coin's origin and its value. The design is simple yet bold, traditional yet timeless, and it remained on America's quarters for decades until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now the Denver Mint in 1980 was a hub of coin production, responsible for minting billions of coins to meet the demand of a growing American economy. In that year, the mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters. On the surface, that would suggest the 1980 quarter is common and unremarkable. You might even find one in circulation today, scratched and worn, worth nothing more than 25 cents. But in numismatics, the story is never so simple. Among the ordinary, the extraordinary sometimes hides. What makes the 1980 Liberty Quarter so intriguing is not just the sheer number struck, but the tiny fraction of coins that may have been produced in unusual circumstances. Coins struck in extraordinary condition, coins struck with errors, coins struck on the wrong planchet, or coins struck with double dies. These are the ones that turn from pocket change into life-changing fortunes. Let's begin with condition. Most coins struck in 1980 entered circulation immediately, rattling in cash registers, passing through millions of hands, suffering scratches, dings, and abrasions. By the time they resurfaced decades later, they are far from perfect. But a few coins were preserved, perhaps by chance, perhaps by collectors who pulled them directly from mint rolls and placed them safely in holders. These coins, when graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can achieve mint state grades. At mint state 65, a coin is gem quality. At mint state 67 or 68, the coin is considered a condition rarity, worth far more than face value. Imagine a coin that has survived over 40 years without a blemish, glowing with its original mint luster. Such a coin is rare enough to attract serious bids at auction. Now let us talk about errors. Error coins are some of the most fascinating and valuable pieces in all of numismatics, because they represent mistakes that should never have happened, yet somehow slipped through the mint's careful quality control. A 1980 quarter struck off center, with part of the design missing, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A coin struck with a misaligned die, where the obverse and reverse don't line up properly, can command impressive premiums. Double die errors, where the lettering or the date appears double due to a mistake in die preparation, are among the most desirable, creating coins that collectors will pay dearly to own. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing, are also collectible. But the rarest of all are transitional errors, coins struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even struck in silver instead of clad copper nickel. By 1980, silver had long been removed from circulating quarters, but it is possible for odd planchets to have been accidentally fed into the presses. Imagine discovering a 1980 Liberty quarter struck on a silver planchet, weighing differently and with a unique ring to its sound. Such a coin could be unique, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the kind of treasure that can set record prices at auction. It is in such extraordinary cases that we hear of valuation skyrocketing into the tens, hundreds of millions, and in mythic instances like this one, even $139 million. The market for rare coins is unlike any other. It is not just about the metal value, which for a quarter is negligible. It is about rarity, history, demand, and above all, the human desire to own something unique. Wealthy collectors and investors compete fiercely for the rarest coins, pushing prices higher and higher. Auctions become battlegrounds, where fortunes are exchanged in pursuit of objects that fit in the palm of a hand. For a one-of-a-kind 1980D Liberty Quarter, collectors would not hesitate to bid astronomical sums. The value of such a coin is not measured in metal but in prestige, status, and the story it carries. Now let us not forget the human element. Every coin carries with it a piece of history. The 1980D Liberty Quarter circulated in a time when America was grappling with inflation, shifting political landscapes, and cultural change. It was the year Mount St. Helens erupted, changing the landscape of the Pacific Northwest. It was the year the United States faced rising tensions during the Cold War. It was a year of transition, and every coin minted at the Denver Mint that year passed through those moments. To hold a 1980D quarter is to hold a piece of that time, a reminder of what life was like in America at the dawn of the 1980s. Collectors know that the romance of coin collecting lies not only in the possibility of wealth but in the connection to history. When you examine a coin, you are not just looking at metal, you are holding an artifact that passed through countless lives, that witnessed countless stories. Perhaps a 1980D quarter was used by a child to buy candy at a corner store. Perhaps it was given as change at a gas station during the oil crisis. Perhaps it was saved in a jar for years before being spent. Each coin has a story, and rare coins carry the greatest stories of all. So what should you do if you come across a 1980D quarter? The first step is to look closely. Inspect the coin with a magnifying glass. Check the surfaces for doubling, for misstrikes, for unusual coloration. Weigh the coin to see if it matches the standard 5.67 grams. If it weighs differently, it may be a wrong planchet error. Look at the edges, are they normal, or is there something unusual? Any deviation from the standard could mean you are holding a rare treasure. And if you suspect your coin is unusual, do not clean it, as cleaning reduces value. Instead, submit it to a professional grading service for authentication and certification. The power of a coin like the 1980D Liberty Quarter lies in its ability to transform from ordinary to extraordinary. It reminds us that hidden value can exist in the most unexpected places. It shows us that what we often take for granted, a simple quarter, can be worth more than entire fortunes. And it teaches us to look more closely, to value history, and to never underestimate the small things we hold in our hands. In the end, the story of the 1980D Liberty Quarter is the story of numismatics itself, a blend of art, history, rarity, and human passion. It is about the thrill of discovery, the excitement of auctions, the dreams of collectors, and the awe of realizing that a coin worth 25 cents can one day be valued at $139 million. It is a story that inspires us to keep looking, to keep searching, to keep dreaming that the next coin we find might just be the one. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that most people would spend without a second thought, a coin that has traveled through pockets, purses, drawers, and vending machines for decades, and yet hidden within its history and design lies a story worth millions. Today we are going to dive into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the Liberty Quarter, minted in 1996 at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1996 P. Liberty Quarter. At first glance, this coin may look like any other quarter you might receive in change at a grocery store or gas station, but the truth behind its history, its value, and the reasons why certain pieces can command a market value reaching as high as $133 million will leave you amazed. This is not just a coin, it is a treasure hidden in plain sight, a piece of American culture, and a symbol of rarity that makes collectors worldwide keep searching, hoping to find one tucked away in a forgotten jar of change. To begin with, let us go back to the year 1996, a year that marked the 25th anniversary of the Eisenhower dollar's retirement, the time when American coinage was already in a transition phase, just 3 years before the introduction of the legendary 50-state quarters. program in 1999. Before that program reshaped the way Americans looked at quarters, the standard design remained the Washington quarter, featuring the left-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse and the iconic eagle design on the reverse. Yet even within these seemingly ordinary years, some coins stood out due to their production anomalies, minting errors, condition, or special historical context. The 1996 P quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time did not use a mint mark like the Denver Mint did with the letter D. In Philadelphia, coins often entered mass circulation, meaning they were made for everyday use, not particularly for collectors. Millions upon millions of these coins were minted. However, what transforms an ordinary 1996 P quarter into a multi-million-dollar rarity is not just the fact that it exists, but rather the unique combination of extreme rarity in condition, special minting strikes, errors, and collector demand. One of the fascinating aspects of this coin is that even though hundreds of millions were struck, very few survived in flawless condition. Most were spent immediately, exchanged in daily commerce, banged together with other coins, scratched, dented, worn down, and forgotten. To find one in pristine mint state condition, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at MS67 or higher, is like finding a needle in a haystack. And when we talk about one that has a special striking error, such as an off-center strike, a double die, or a transitional mistake in the alloy composition, the value skyrockets far beyond imagination. Collectors love imperfections when they come from the mint, because they represent history frozen in metal, a mistake that should not have happened, a rarity that sets the coin apart from billions of others. The most famous example of the 1996 P Liberty quarter that brought headlines to the coin world is one graded at an astonishingly high mint state condition with an ultra-rare double die obverse. This piece was sold at a private auction for an incredible $133 million, breaking records and shocking even veteran collectors. What makes it so valuable is not just the condition, but the fact that no other piece like it has ever been documented. It is believed to be one of a kind, a true numismatic miracle that transforms a pocket change quarter into one of the most expensive coins ever known. Now think about it. The quarter in your pocket right now may be worth exactly 25 cents, but what if, through a series of rare events, that same design carried a unique error, struck on the wrong planchet, preserved perfectly for decades without a single scratch? The story of the 1996 P Liberty quarter teaches us that coins are not only about their face value, but about history, preservation, condition, and rarity. A coin is not just metal, it is art, a historical document, a collector's passion, and sometimes, as in this case, a multi-million-dollar treasure. To understand the true importance of the Liberty quarter dollar of 1996, you must also recognize the role it plays in the larger story of American coinage. The Washington quarter had been the face of the denomination since 1932, originally issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1996, the design had become familiar, perhaps even ordinary, but it represented stability and continuity. The eagle on the reverse side, wings spread with authority, was symbolic of American pride. Yet, little did anyone know that within a few short years, the design would change dramatically with the 50-state quarters program. That shift made the final years of the traditional eagle reverse even more significant, because collectors realized they were holding the last of an era. Another reason why the 1996 P quarter is so fascinating is the psychology behind collecting. Humans have always placed value on rarity, from gemstones to stamps, and coins are no different. While billions of coins are minted every year, only a handful stand out as rare gems. The allure is that anyone, anywhere, might find one. Imagine checking your spare change and discovering a coin worth millions. That thrill, that hope, keeps the hunt alive and keeps collectors constantly searching. It makes the world of numismatics an exciting adventure where history and fortune collide. The market for coins like the 1996 P Liberty quarter is stronger than ever. High-profile sales often make headlines, driving new collectors into the hobby and pushing values even higher. Wealthy collectors, museums, and private investors compete fiercely for these unique pieces. When the rarest 1996 P Liberty quarter went under the hammer, it was not just a coin being sold, it was a piece of history, a cultural artifact, and a financial asset. The bidding war that ensued showed how much passion and money people are willing to invest in something that combines rarity, artistry, and heritage. Today, even ordinary examples of the 1996 P quarter in circulated condition can fetch a small premium above face value if they are in excellent condition. But when we are talking about gem-quality mint state coins or rare error coins, the values can climb from thousands to millions, depending on their uniqueness. Collectors look for things like full strike details, brilliant luster, no scratches or bag marks, and of course, errors such as double dies or off-metal strikes. So when we say that a 1996 P Liberty quarter has reached a market value of $133 million, we are not just talking about money, we are talking about a story that spans decades, a coin that represents chance, rarity, and history. It is a reminder that treasures do not always come in gold and diamonds. Sometimes, they come in the form of a simple quarter, something we all touch every day, but when preserved in perfection and blessed by a rare error, it becomes priceless. This is why the Liberty quarter dollar of 1996 will always remain a legend in the coin world, a coin that inspires curiosity, passion, and dreams. If you have coins lying around in drawers, jars, or old collections, it might be time to take a closer look. Who knows? Perhaps you are holding history in your hands, perhaps you are holding the next great rarity that could change your life forever. That is the magic of coins, that is the story of the 1996 P Liberty quarter, and that is why collectors and dreamers alike will continue searching, hoping, and believing that one day, fortune will reveal itself in the form of a quarter dollar that most of the world overlooked.